Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Future of Mobile and Quality, Mobile Quality Solutions for Today and Tomorrow, a webinar presented by ETQ. My name is David Isaacson with ETQ in Product Marketing, and I'm joined today by Tom Barlow, who is one of our Strategic Solution Engineers. And together we will go through a little bit on using mobile for quality, mobile devices in a quality environment. Before we do that, I do want to just do a couple of quick housekeeping items here, and then we'll go through the agenda. First of all, we are recording today's session. So everybody who attends, and even those who don't attend, if you registered, you will get a copy of this recording. If you have questions during the session, please use the GoToWebinar widget on the right-hand side of the screen and enter in your question. We will get to as many of them as we can today. You'll also find in there in the chat area, make sure you have the right access, and if you have any issues, please just let us know, and we will work to resolve any of those with the webinar as quickly as we can. So today, as I said, Tom and I will be going through mobile and a quality environment. We'll start with a quick introduction of ETQ. Then we'll take a look at some of the factors that are driving mobile adoption. And what we're seeing in the market may be a little surprising. It's a little bit slower than some folks had anticipated in quality, but we'll talk about some of those factors. Then we'll get more into how to use mobile with a quality management system, in this case with ETQ's Reliance, and Tom will go through some details there and give us a demonstration of how mobile can be used in a couple of different scenarios. Then we will end with some Q&A. So with that, what I'm going to do is start with a quick introduction to ETQ. ETQ has been in business now for 30 years, providing quality management solutions to a very broad range of customers and different industries. It is a cloud-native QMS, meaning it is in the cloud, it's a SaaS product. You get to take advantage of the best practices that have been garnered from a broad range of different customers and users of the system. A very broad range of capabilities that exist. And we work with our customers every day to make sure that they are achieving their goals with quality management. And when I talk about our customers, as I mentioned, it is a fairly broad range of industries that we support, whether it is manufacturing, food and beverage, consumer goods, and so forth. You can see just a sample of some of the customers that we work with on a day-to-day basis and help them drive quality management throughout their organizations.
Hey, David.
Yes, Tom.
Have you changed from the title screen yet? Because we haven't seen anything change on this on the screen.
Oh, I am so sorry. Let's hold there for a second and go here. And let's go there. So now you should be seeing a set of customers. Do you see the logo slide, Tom?
I can. Is there anything that we missed that we?
Nope.
Okay.
I just talked about using the widget on the right-hand side for entering any questions that you might have for GoToWebinar, and then a quick intro as to who ETQ was. But this gives you a good idea of the different customers that in different industries that ETQ serves. As I mentioned, it's a fairly broad base of customers, over 14 different industries. And one of the key benefits of having all of these different customers in all of these different industries is the ability to have best practices and conversations between different customers and learn from each other. And that's what our customers do every single day, is they learn not only in their own organizations, but from other customers. And in fact, I'll put a plug in that at the end of April, we have our annual customer conference where we bring together, last year it was close to 1,000 different users who got to take advantage of learnings from each other. Lots of customers present to other customers, hear product updates and things like that. So it is an environment where we are able to help enable our customers do quality better. It's a really unique approach to making sure that we're moving the industry forward as an organization and as a community as we go forward. Okay. So now let's talk for a moment about some of the factors driving adoption for mobile. Recently, I had the opportunity to talk with an analyst at Gartner who follows the quality space. And one of the things that he was surprised about was the slow adoption of mobile for quality. And today we'll talk about some of the use cases and some of the items that are actually moving us more and more towards using mobile. And in fact, one of the things that we want to do right here at the beginning is a quick poll. And I'll ask Liz to bring up the poll question on this, and everybody should be able to see that poll now. And the question we have is, do you use a work issued device or do you use a personal device? And we're collecting the responses. You give it just another moment. Looks like about 2/3 of everybody has voted so far. Give it another 10 seconds or so. Looks like about 2/3 of the attendees have voted. Okay, Liz, let's go ahead and close the poll. And if I share the results, I think everybody can see that almost 60% of the attendees are using a personal device at work, and 40% are using a device that was issued by your organization. Okay. So let me go ahead and hide the results. All right, good. So given that, let's talk about some of the factors driving adoption. So first of all, a lot of our organizations are distributed globally, and so that is helping drive use of mobile as you travel to different locations. It's so much easier with a mobile device, whether it's a tablet or a cell phone, to be able to use that for your day-to-day quality operations. Another factor that's driving this is being able to take that device to where you need it, where you need quality in the field, whether you're doing an inspection, whether you're doing an audit, whether you're walking the factory floor. You have a device that has access to quality functions without having to lug around a large laptop and be using that in a very uncomfortable manner, so to speak. So where you have this much more suitable device, you can take it out into the field, and Tom will show some of the capabilities as we go forward, but whether or not you need to take photographs or capture other information real time, the mobile device is uniquely suited to do that. Also, when you're out in the field, one of the key challenges is connectivity. If you're in a factory floor, a lot of times you may not have internet connectivity, or it may be difficult to get a constant and steady signal. Therefore, being able to capture information on a mobile device, and then once you're back into a place where you can connect to the server, be able to upload, sync with any information that you've captured, that's really going to be important for use of that mobile device. So we've seen plenty of times where you're on the factory floor, or you're in a location out in the middle of a field, middle of a cornfield, where you don't have connectivity, but you still need to capture that quality data. That's one of the beauties of the solution that we're showing today, where the mobile device captures that information. Then once you're back where a signal is available, you sync all that information and it's captured in the server for everybody to take advantage of. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Tom and let Tom talk a little bit about more of an operational aspect to the use of a mobile device.
Thank you, David. let's move on to the next slide.
Okay.
Excellent. So David mentioned a few minutes ago that we're going to talk a little bit about some of the use cases for mobility. When you think about mobility, you're not trying to just replicate the whole process that you already have in the web version. The whole idea is to really use it to start the process. Oftentimes, when you're out in the field, whether you're observing a nonconformance or an accident or some other sort of a process, oftentimes, not necessarily always, but oftentimes you would use the mobile device to capture the start of the process. So you're going to have, you can see it on the image here, it's just a simple form, initiates the information or initiates the record, captures the basic information that you need. And then from that point forward, it would then submit it into the web version for anyone to deal with the next step. Next slide, please, David. So the whole idea is you're not trying to replicate what you have in the web version with the mobility device, because you're never going to really necessarily do the whole process. You're not going to do the full, corrective action process, for example, or the full nonconformance disposition process, or whatever the process might be that you're using in the web version. The whole idea is where are you when you need to have the mobile app to make it easy to do that step in the process. As I mentioned, oftentimes just initiating the process or starting the process with the mobile app, because you're in a position where you observe something and you have the device right with you. So you would simply just initiate the record and then move it to the next step. You don't need everything, and we're going to talk about this on the next slide. You don't need to have the entire process configured on the mobile app, and that's why we actually have a different configuration on the mobile configurations from the web version. It's really a subset of what the web version is. And keep it simple. Really, what this really is, the idea here is you just need to capture a couple pieces of information. Oftentimes when you're out there on the floor and doing something, you don't need the whole process. And this is kind of the central theme for all the slides that I've really been discussing, is that it's not just a replication of the web version. It's just a very simple, piece of one or two pieces of information or a couple fields on a form, snap a picture, scan a barcode or whatever it might be that you can do to make it extremely simple and easy to deal with. So it really is just taking it, making it portable, making it extremely easy to deal with. It's not realistic, and from the customers that we've worked with on the mobile app so far, it just doesn't make sense to replicate the whole process on the mobile app. The idea is simplicity, ease of use, kind of the central mantras of ETQ Reliance anyway. Next slide, David. So let's discuss for a moment a couple of common deployments of the mobile app. So audits management, of course, you schedule audits, you have to go out and do audits in your own facility or perhaps external to your facility, supplier audits or whatever it might be. So with the mobile app, you can go into the system while you're online. You can download the audit or the checklist that you need, and it literally checks them out of the web version onto the mobile app. You can take your device with you. You can do your audit. You can use all the onboard functionality, such as the voice to text functionality, to translate what you're observing into actual text in the comments field, for example. You can take pictures with the onboard camera, using that to capture objective evidence while you're offline. And then when you have access to the web again, you can upload the completed audit record to the web version. Another example is the accidents and safety reporting application. Of course, a lot of people have their cell phones right in their pockets with them. They observe something, they don't have to go back to their desk and record it. They can see it, they can snap a picture, they can capture the basic information. And this is the whole idea of keeping it simple, right? You just have a couple of fields you need to capture. It doesn't have to be the entire form. The web version can kind of supplement that information later. So when someone is assigned that record, there could be additional fields that they populate in the web version. But the whole idea is to capture the basic information. And I'm just going to fix my camera because it looks like it's a little bit Out of focus now. So the whole idea is just to capture the incident, and you want to encourage people to capture that incident by just having it simple. They have a couple fields they have to fill in. I'll actually show an example of this in just a minute, and then they move it on. So you don't have to spend a lot of time filling it out. It's very convenient, very easy, very simple. Document control, the use case for that might be a situation where you're working on a project outside the facility or someplace where you're not sure if you're going to have access to the web. So you could go into our document control using the mobile device while you're still online. You could download the procedures and documentation that you need to use while you're offsite. So it would make a local copy for you to have available to you to reference if you needed to within the mobility app. Assets calibration and maintenance, of course, the ability to do things like calibrations or maintenance activities while you're on the mobile device is much more convenient because you can walk around your facility and do those things on there as well. Nonconformance reporting is going to be similar in concept to the accidents and safety reporting that we discussed a few moments ago. So you're somewhere, you're on the plant floor, you identify something, you quickly just come into the mobile app, open up the nonconformance application, create a new record, use the onboard camera, use the voice to text functionality, use the barcoding if you want to for things like products and things like that. And then just record it in the mobile app. You click a button and send it into the system itself, into the web version. It routes it using workflow and all that good stuff automatically. So the idea is that it's simple, easy to use, doesn't take much time, and it's extremely convenient. It's available for you at your fingertips to be able to have access to that information. So these are really 5 example use cases that we wanted to discuss during this session today. But the beauty of the platform, as those of us that are familiar with ETQ Reliance already, is it's just as flexible as the web version is. You can configure anything that you want to. You can even configure your own applications on the platform and even mobilize those applications as well. So David, those are the use cases, I think, and that's, I think, is the next slide for the demonstration. Okay. So I think this is the part where I get to share my screen, right? Okay, just give me a second here. And what I thought I might do at this point, since we have a little bit of time, is remind everyone of the powerful platform genetics of ETQ Reliance, because mobility is certainly part of that process. So we have these 6 powerful genetics that are infused across all the applications in our system, whether they exist now or they exist in the future. We have adaptability, which is the infinite configuration capability. We have connectivity, the ability to have processes that are tied to each other with inheritance of information and linking back and forth between related records to make it easy for full traceability. Integration with external systems. So just as easily as we can connect between processes within our platform, we often have to leverage information outside our system. So we have multiple capabilities for interacting with systems or synchronizing with information outside of our system. Contextual awareness means that when you log into the system knows where you are within your organization. So you can set up a hierarchy in our system and define locations and then have it filter automatically to only show you information you need to see, supporting the global implementation, of course, that we have in many cases across our larger customers. This contextual awareness lends itself nicely to external collaboration, giving you the ability to have external contractors and suppliers or anyone else outside of your organization be able to log in, knowing full well that the security filtering is in place so that they can only see the information that pertains to them, which then brings us to the last genetic, which is why we're having this discussion today, the idea of anywhere access. So it's one thing to have a very powerful platform and many different processes that are automated on the platform, but then if you can extend that to anywhere, then we literally have one customer that goes into outer space. So we can literally say that you can use this ETQ Reliance anywhere, including in outer space, but the ability to access the system anywhere, whether you're on the field or somewhere where you're not sure if you're going to have access to the web to be able to log into and use the system. So I just wanted to pull that up as a reminder. We had a couple of extra minutes here in our session. So I'm going to pull this up. So this is my personal machine. This is my personal phone. And I have the ability to, you can see the Reliance application right here on the top. So this is just any app, just you can download it for Apple or Android devices, just like any other application. You would then be able to log in using your username and your password that you use in Reliance, and we also support single sign-on, so that would work as well. So in this case, I'm just going to click on login, and it's going to bring me to the assignment section. So I can see my current assignments. I can access them from here. I can also access the applications by clicking on the bottom. And as I mentioned before, my plan today was to just quickly create a new accident report or incident in the incidents and accidents application. Just as one of the use cases we talked about, keep in mind that everything would be looking and feeling very similar to everything else on the platform. So any other application is going to have the same look and feel as this. So I wanted to convey how simple it is to create a new record in the mobile app. So you can see that there's a plus sign up here on the top right, and I'll just point to it with my mouse. So I can click on that plus sign, and then I can click on incident. So the thing gives me a brand new form to fill out. The idea is to keep it very simple. So the first thing I'm going to do is just populate the date and time. I can populate a couple of other fields, and some of this could have been automated based on the configuration. I'm just going to put myself in there like this. The incident itself, if you're familiar with this form in our out-of-the-box system in the Accidents and Safety Reporting app, you'll recognize all this because it's basically the same fields from the web version that were configured onto this. I can then fill in the subject. I'm just going to quickly say this, and then description. So I'm just filling it out really, really quickly. I'm going to do one more thing, which is this attachments field. You can see that there's a symbol for the camera. So I can either use a picture that's already on my device, or I can use the camera to take a live picture. So I'm going to click on the camera and point out the office window here and snap a picture of it and then say OK. So basically, notice how simple the form is, just a couple of fields I need to populate at this point. And now you'll notice that on the top right, there's a send button. So if I click on that send button, this business rules were already configured to route it to the safety manager and give it a due date. So literally, I don't have to do anything else. I can hit done. The system saves the record, it sends it forward in the process. But you'll also notice at the top, it's kind of hard to see it, but I had a little ETQ symbol pop up right on the top, which is the push notification here. So I can show you that I've been assigned a document. So this is the push notification to let me know that I've been assigned a new record. So if I wanted to respond to an assignment within the mobile app, and if it was configured to support that, I would be able to receive that push notification from anything that was assigned to me in any application that was configured for the mobility app. So instead of just responding to email, it's a push notification just like you would expect to see on any other mobile notification that you would get on your device. The one thing that we didn't have configured for this demo on the form was the ability to have a barcode scan. So literally it uses your onboard camera to scan a barcode, whether it's QR code or any kind of barcode, to input some information, as well as the ability to use the recording. So in addition to using the voice to text functionality to convert your voice into a description in a text field, we also have the ability to take a witness statement, for example, or record someone's firsthand observation of an incident or any other thing in the system as a WAV file. It's actually a recording that's attached to the record. And the other thing that we can do is use the touchpad to record someone's physical signature as an image that's attached to the record as well, if that was required for whatever reason. So as we discussed before, literally configurable for any process. What we're discussing now in the form of incidents is available in any other process. Since we have a couple of minutes, I might just come down here to the assignments screen, and I'll just quickly open up an audit checklist as well. So I can click on this one, which is the top one on the list. So this is now giving me access to an audit checklist where I already have some pictures and objective evidence attached to it. Just like we discussed before, I would be able to respond by choosing the appropriate response for a particular question. Once again, the onboard camera can be used to attach objective evidence. So I click another picture and say, okay. So that picture is now part of the record in the audit, and then I can either route it forward or I can just simply hit save. So I just wanted to give you a quick look at that from the mobility side. What I'm going to do right now is log out of the mobility app and pull up the web version and log into that like this, because we should see, just to complete the loop on the record that I created just a moment ago, if I come into the accidents and safety reporting, you can see the record that I just created a few moments ago. So I can open it up. Here's the incident report that was just recorded with some of the fields that I already populated, including the picture that I took. So as I mentioned, this form is much more, I guess, inclusive of information. It's much larger, has a lot more information that you can then fill in, which wasn't needed in the web version, or excuse me, it wasn't needed in the mobile version. We don't need to have all these sections. So once again, the idea is to keep the mobile form simple, extremely easy to use, configure it for the purpose that it's intended for, which is to just capture information quickly. You record it, you hit the button, it sends it forward in the workflow. Of course, standard workflow functionality would mean that I would also receive an assignment email from the system as well with a hyperlink back to the record. So David, I think that's what we had intended to discuss as far as the demo today.
Okay, excellent. So what I'm going to do,
I'm gonna see if I can stop sharing.
yep, and I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can do this now. Let me just get back over to my screen, Tom, and we'll start with some Q&A. So while I'm bringing back the main presentation, what I'm going to do is ask everyone who has questions to just, as I said, use the widget that is on the right-hand side of the screen for GoToWebinar. And just so, you know, if you are interested in that, make sure you are using this Q&A box over here on the right-hand side. And while we are starting to get some questions in, I'm just going to put up some additional information that some additional resources that are available on etq.com. But while we're doing that, Tom, I do have a couple questions that have started to come in. We had a couple that were submitted, in fact, during the registration process as well. So I'm just going to go through the list in no particular order as they come in here. First off, I mean, this looks like a typical mobile app, right? How long does it take to install?
It's just like installing any other application for your Apple or Android device. You go to the Google Play Store or the Apple Store, look for ETQ Reliance, you download it, and it's installed.
Perfect. And then, does mobile support different devices, offline, app or browser? How does all that work? Is this just an app, or can I use a browser? What
Great question. That's a great question. So our web version does have what's called responsive design. So it's designed to automatically move fields around on the form based on the form factor and the shape of your screen. So the web version is really optimized for browsers on your tablets, and using browsers like Firefox or Chrome, for example. So you can log into the system using the same URL that you would use on your laptop or desktop, provided that you have access to the broadband or to Wi-Fi. You can log into the web version and have exactly the same functionality available to you that you would expect in the web version, except you can also leverage the onboard functions like the voice to text functionality and like the camera, even using the web browser. So that extends it a little bit further and makes it a little bit more convenient for you as well.
Okay. Now, Tom had a question on customizing this to do my own audit questions, and I'm going to go broader than that. You know, not only audit questions, but can I do different types of audits on the mobile device?
Yeah, so the way the audit application works is it doesn't really need configuration for different types of audits. You simply import your existing audit types and your existing checklists into the system, into audit templates. We call them audit types or checklist templates. Once those are set up, you can start scheduling different types of audits using those templates or using those audit types, and therefore all your questions will automatically be available in the audits app. And then as I showed a moment ago, and one thing I didn't show is that you can actually swipe to the left and it'll allow you to download the checklist to the offline device, checking it out of the web version. So, and this is another interesting point, if you do that, the system automatically checks it out of the web version, so someone can't go online in the web version and edit it also if it's also assigned to them. Once you download something to your local device, it actually checks it out of the web version and it marks the record as so that someone would know that you have checked it out. It would then allow you to work on it offline and then upload it. But the audit types are really based on your own audit setup.
Okay. And we have another question here, and I'm sorry, I'm going to mess up the name, so I'm not going to try to pronounce the first name. But can users edit the photo taken to mark specific areas on the photo? Do you know if that's possible?
I don't think it's set up for that. I think
Okay.
it either you can edit the photo before you attach it if you have some way to do that, so you can save the photo locally to your device and then use the attachment existing photo button that I also pointed out instead of using the camera to just take a picture and attach it.
Okay. And Caitlin wants to know, would the mobile version support customized or custom written workflows inside modules?
So any configuration that you define in the web version is available to be supported in the mobile app as well. There is a slightly different advanced configuration setup, so it doesn't use typical ETQ script. It's called mobile script. So you would have to configure any business rules like dynamic form functionality or things like that. So it's not going to just take those web configurations that are advanced configurations and transfer it to mobile. Once again, it's a different use case for mobility, so you're not going to exactly replicate your process on the mobile version that you have on the web version, but it can be supported to some extent using the mobile script.
Okay. And then Sandy wanted to know, are there specific browsers that this works with on the web?
We are certified for Firefox and Chrome.
Okay. And let's see, let me go over here. I'm just trying to make sure I get all these, see all these questions going here. When a new version of the mobile app becomes available, how do I get that?
Well, just like any app that you already have on your phone, if you have auto updates, or when I say phone, your mobile device, whether it's a tablet or phone, if you have auto updates enabled, it'll automatically download the updates to the mobile app. And if not, you will be prompted and get a list of that as well as other apps that you might want to manually update and just click a button and say yes.
Okay. Next question here. This one's from Paul, and he wants to know, with respect to barcode scanning, or probably any peripheral device on a mobile device, is that supported? Would that be supported? So if I had like a third-party scanner, would there be an issue using that to scan the barcode into the mobile app?
Good question. I don't know. I haven't come across a use case where someone would have a third-party scanning device plugged into their mobile device, because the mobile device's camera could serve as a scanner as well. I know that we can support the input from scanners using the web version with just plugging it in as an input device. So we might have to get back to you on that and have our more technical folks take a look at that question.
Okay. And then what versions, we've got a couple of questions here, what versions of Reliance, because we, just so everybody's aware, we do have customers and other folks on this call, what versions of Reliance are supported by the mobile app?
You know, that's a good question, David, and I don't know off the top of my head which versions, and I
Okay,
apologize for that.
no worries. We'll get back to you on that. But I know it's certainly the latest versions of Reliance. But yeah, we'll get an answer for everybody. Make sure everybody understands that. Let's see. Can you talk a little bit about integration of different modules or applications in the mobile device, Tom?
Sure. So we talked about the connectivity genetic, which allows you to create records from other records. That is supported with the mobile app, but you have to configure it. So in other words, if you're going to launch a corrective action from an audit question, just like you can on the web version, you have to make sure that you configure the CAPA process as a mobile process, so that when they're on the mobile device, if they want to create a corrective action, they can click the button and it'll launch the record.
Okay, I'm just looking through. We're starting to slow down on some of the questions here. So I'm just going through to see if anything else has come in. One question that we had here that came in during the registration process was, does this include monitoring manufacturing floor data failure information, such as from an SPC type process?
Not out of the box. If there was a configuration for an inspection in the web version, we could mobilize it on the mobile version. And I know we have 1 or 2 customers that off the top of my head that have done that use the mobile devices quite heavily for inspection purposes. So is it possible to support it? Yes. Does it support it out of the box? No, it doesn't, because we don't have a out of the box in-process inspection application in the platform.
And I do want to mention that we've also integrated with metrology type systems and can share information back and forth through that approach as well. All right. So a question from Caitlin here, one more here that just came in. Any issues with syncing the web version to the mobile version? Does anything special need to be accounted for when doing this?
So good question. Just a few minutes ago, when I logged into the application and created a new record, even though I was using the mobile app, I was technically logged into the web version. So it consumes a concurrent license while you're online, and with all the rights and privileges thereof that were set up in the web version. So there's no synchronization per se, because it's creating the record and saving it in the web version, and immediately it routes it in the web version, and sends me that push notification that you saw just a few minutes ago. If I was offline when I was trying to record that, what would happen is it would capture the record locally, and then I could even hit the send button, and it does what's called flag for routing. So it tells the local version, the local record, that the next time it synchronizes, it's going to automatically route it to the next step in the workflow. Of course, since you're offline, there's no way that it can route it to somebody else and assign it to somebody else, because the record is just on your local device. So once you create the new record and route it, it's called flag it for routing. The next time it synchronizes, it'll route it automatically based on all the business rules that were defined for that next step of the workflow. In the case of taking something that's already online offline, such as the audit checklist that I discussed a few minutes ago, it checks it out of the web version so that nobody else can edit it while it's on your local device. So you are the owner of that particular record at the time that you have it on your local device. You modify it. No one else can modify it because it says it's checked out by Tom and such a date and such a time. Once you complete your audit and upload it to the web version, it then automatically checks it back in. And then if anyone else was assigned to that particular step of the process, they would then be able to either work on it online on the web version, which would allow them to edit it, or they could download it and check it out themselves for their own use on their mobile device. So there really isn't a synchronization per se issue, because people are not modifying things in 2 different places. So they're not like the old Lotus Notes world where you had replication errors because there were 2 people modifying different things, modifying the same record, which then when it tried to synchronize caused a problem.
Okay. And that looks like all the questions we had. So with that, Tom, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us today, even though you're now looking a little fuzzy on your camera there.
Yeah, I
But
can see
besides
that.
that, I'd like to thank everybody who attended today's webinar. I hope that we were able to get to most of the questions. I know there were a couple that we didn't get to, and we'll get back to folks directly with some of those answers. And therefore, I'd wish everybody a good day, and we will talk to everybody soon. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.